Hi and welcome everyone. Today we have our guest Jayi, and Jayi is an artist who proves that creativity does not follow a timeline; it follows truth. And so their journey involves music, film. They really went from a fangirl to artist pipeline, and it's all filtered through a distinctly queer lens. I just saw Jayi's music video, and it's fun, it's energetic. Um, I'll get into it a little bit later. It kind of reminds me a little bit of high school, and we'll talk about that. But their journey moves through music, and it also includes navigating as a Filipino-American and a queer asexual creator, and that identity, and fusing that in self-discovery, belonging, and ways to challenge expectations, especially the pressure to have it all figured out by a certain age, um, which I definitely resonate with, having to feel like I have to have things figured out. Um, JE calls themselves a late bloomer. What they've really done is actually they've carved out a path on their own terms. And after years of believing that pursuing art was unrealistic or even unacceptable, she's learned to make it work for the sake of expression and connection and joy. So I'm really excited for you all to get a chance to meet her, learn a little bit more about her work. I think one of the jokes or one of the things I heard you say were, the economy is so bad, why not pursue your dreams? And it's tea. I totally agree. Uh, um, yeah, economy is so bad that I find myself having to pursue my dreams in order to like make a living. So it's not good, but it's also kind of exciting. So Jay, welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you on.
Thank you for having me. I love that intro so much. I love that
Thank
so
you.
much. Yeah.
So I wanted to know, could you tell the outside of what I said, could you tell the viewers a little bit more about yourself and just your creative journey?
Yeah, so when I was, around 7 years old, that's when I moved to the States. Before that, I was born in Singapore, and then I stayed in the Philippines for a bit, and then went to, like, Orange County, and then when I was 7, I ended up here. That's also when I started dancing. It was like a PE thing, but I didn't take it seriously until, like, high school. I had not done music yet. I was, like, forced into piano lessons, and then since I had to, read sheet music, I got tired of that, and I, like, psyched myself into thinking that I was terrible at it, but then I started, writing songs in high school, and, it just shot up from there. It's funny because when I started writing songs, that's when I stopped dancing, but then I picked up dancing again during college, and it just, the dancer in me and, like, the musician in me, like, informed each other, and, it just that's how I, like, shaped my own image of who I wanna be as an artist, who I wanna be as a performer, and yeah.
Nice, awesome. So you kind of hit all of the West Coast in that. Um, Honestly, you, from Orange County to San Francisco, and then exploring dance and bringing it to now. Could you tell us a little bit about what does now look like for you? Like, if you had to sum it up in one word, how would you describe yourself as an artist now?
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous. I like it.
Spontaneous.
Um,
Yeah.
Gosh, why spontaneous?
Um Yeah, well, now I'm spontaneous. Earlier, I mean, before, like, now,
Uh-huh.
I used to, like, have everything figured out. I'm pretty much a planner. I go, "Here's the rollout, here's how I want stuff to work. It has to be this, this, and this on this date," and I would, like, stick to it. But then the more ideas I got, the more I wanted to switch stuff around. Like, for example, I do have an EP I've been working on for, like, the past year or so, but then I would have these experiences that would, like, trigger me to write certain songs, and I'm like, "Oh, I want to put this idea out in the world first before I get to, like, the other ones." Like, I wanna get it out of my brain, like, right away.
I love it. Nice. How has that been? Just like writing an EP. Like, what's that journey? Like the emotional journey, and how's that been?
Yeah, I consider myself a singles artist So, trying to write an EP is a bit challenging. I'm more like of like, "Oh, this song is, like, for this moment, this song's for that moment." But, like, there are 5 songs on the EP, they're all about, the EP is called Terms and Conditions, by the way, I keep forgetting to name it.
Yeah,
Um,
we should
but
probably name it terms and conditions. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, Terms and Conditions, is I describe it as, mm, a manual on how to love me. Uh, like you said earlier, I identify as a queer asexual person, and the dating pool nowadays, well, my opinion, this is, like, my opinion of it, the dating pool nowadays is, like, very it's not very over sexualized, but, like, a lot of people do tend to prioritize sex and relationships more nowadays, or at least they're more open to it, and that's not something I want at all. And I I like long walks on the beach. I like, little cute dates by at like a fancy restaurant, but we don't have to do the rest of that. And sometimes it can be hard for people to understand. Because, they feel things that I literally cannot physically feel. So this is me saying, "Oh, this is how I wanna be loved. These are my boundaries. I'm communicating them to whoever is interested." Yeah, hopefully it'll, like, resonate with, like, other people, especially, like, other the rest of the asexual community of, like, their dating experience and how it goes. Also has somewhat to do with career. It touches a little bit on career and how, love and career, they can go hand in hand, but they can also, you know, they're also like 2 opposite ends of a magnet. And, that push and pull of like balancing career and your love life and, how it's gonna work out in the end, or if it won't it work out in the end. So yeah, I've been in the studio with a couple of friends. Usually it's just me in my bedroom, but it was really cool working with other musicians in the studio space for the first time for this EP. Um and I love the collaborative process. I'm still mixing and mastering my own stuff, but I love collaborating, especially with like real instruments on this EP. So that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that is cool. I resonate with that too. There was a large part of my life where I identified as ace.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I don't tell a lot of people that because there was like a lot of heartbreak around that.
Mm,
Um, I was trying to date in the gay scene. This guy who I liked. I liked him a lot. Um, but there was a lot of hate and ignorance that came along with that.
mm.
Um, and wow, that I was really in my art bag after that. Like there's some paintings that I have created
Oh,
since then that were really fueled by that. But I also resonate with what you're saying. Like, yeah, love me. There's certain boundaries, and then, um, but yeah. So no, I totally resonate with that aspect of your story, and I am really happy to have you on because I want to have more visibility around that because I am finding that there's still a lot of ignorance within the community around what ACE is and how that works.
for sure,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. But I wanted to kind of go into something else that you had mentioned, which got me really excited.
Okay.
And you talked about how you're directing people. You're saying, I need this at this time. I need, this timing. And you're really kind of getting into the project managing, if you will, of creating an EP. And I wanted to ask, what was the process of going from I'm an individual creator to now I'm in the studio working with other artists?
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, when you're like yeah, when you're working with, like, just yourself, there you still set some deadlines for yourself, but, there's also, it's also very lax. You don't really have, like, other people, like, breathing down your neck and being like, "So when's this gonna come out? Like, when am I gonna get credited?" So I'm glad with the other people in the studio with me, I have that sort of those like extra eyes, extra ears, um, and also like that willingness to like get the stuff out. And also yeah, the additional feedback. I I do trust my ear, my own producer's ear, but getting the feedback from other people is great. I always welcome feedback and like constructive criticism, so that's very important to me. Also, like, just getting people to fill in the gaps of my ideas on things that I can't do because I also have my limits as an artist, and like pulling on the strengths of my collaborators and what they can do. Um, yeah, it's like magic. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And also, like speaking of that magic,
Yeah,
what was it like going from fangirl to artist?
right. So I grew up loving boy bands. Like, if like you can like probably name a country and I would tell you like a boy band from that country. Like, it's not just like the mainstream stuff, it's like the super niche stuff. But like that was my thing. When I was in elementary school, I was known as like the girl who loved the Jonas Brothers. In high school, I was that girl who loved One Direction and 5 Seconds of Summer. In college,
Okay.
I was like one of the girls who like loved BTS. Like, it keeps going, and I still love boy bands to this day. But like what that did inform me of like what makes a charismatic musician, what makes like an artist, a good performer, and a good singer, a good dancer, and all of that like, surface stuff. But it also informed me of like how to market an artist, how to package it, you know, um, how to like come across as one. And for a few years, I do still manage myself as an artist. I'm self-managed, but I also was the manager of another rapper here in the Bay Area called Mood. Um, we're still friends. We just yeah, he just decided to like go yeah, in his like other direction and like be self-managed like me. But that did, seeing how, especially the K-pop industry, how they do a rollout. There's like so much social content and so much like teasers and visuals, and there's a lot that goes into like the fashion, um the
Uh-huh.
basically the way they speak in interviews, and all of that stuff. Really does take a village to push an artist out there. And a lot of artists also are kind of not really against that, but they're like, music is about like just the music. But I like to nerd out about that stuff because I see like all the effort that goes into stuff like that. Um, so I like modeled, my management process after that. Like, oh, let's like release a teaser, let's be consistent on socials. And I personally like that. A lot of artists don't like that, but I love like the promotion and like the creative direction aspect of all of it. I also creative direct all my visuals as well. And it's like the funnest thing ever. I love coming up with like concepts and what a song looks like. Um and yeah, it's all a lot of fun. Knowing being in a fangirl's brain, you kind of know what a listener wants to hear or what a listener is like tuning into. So, being on that flip side of the coin, it feels like you know exactly what you're going for.
Yeah, I love that. First of all, I definitely see that come through between looking at your Instagram, which I was like, oh, like, okay, I saw your Instagram, I saw the photography, I was like, oh, this is a photographer. And then I looked at the rest of your links, and then I went to your YouTube and listened to your music video, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, those photos are from the YouTube. And I was like, oh, they're
Yes.
from the. And then I went from there, and then I went back to it, and I kind of went back a couple of times. I'm like, And then I kind of was like, oh, this is a whole rollout. These are stills to get people excited to go
Yeah, there's,
the
like,
video.
so much stuff to, like, look at, right? And it's, like it's very interesting and engaging, and I just
Yeah,
love, like, participating in the little shoots and, like, everything.
your management style definitely comes through. I also nerd out about that side of things too when it comes to art. I'm looking at what kind of font did they use? How do they show the artist names next to their painting? How do they hang the painting? How do they go through all of that stuff that most artists don't care about, or sometimes like, man, they're just doing this to take all my money. It's like no, like production goes in to get people to buy the art because it's all about how you place it and how you present it so that people want to consume it or are ready to consume.
Right,
So no,
right.
I'm nerding out right along with you. Different
Yes.
genre, but I'm still nerding out.
I love, like yeah, like, I feel like we're both very detailed people and, um, yeah, love the details, all of it.
Yeah. So I want to ask, what was that piece of media that made you, or I don't want to, I don't want to assume, but was there a piece of media that made you obsess over it? That made you want to say, I want to make something like this? Was there like one focal moment?
There was, you assumed right. Um, do you know League of Legends?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So there's this group called KDA, and if
Okay.
our viewers don't know what that is, it's a fictional K-pop group made of characters from League of Legends. And they no, like
This is
okay,
awesome.
and they released this music video a long time ago. I think this was actually one of my first exposures to K-pop, but they released this music video called Pop Stars, and it went super viral, and it was, like, of these girls, like, aura farming and wearing all the cool outfits. They weren't fighting, that's a fighting game. They were just being pop stars, and, like, it's, like the visuals were great, first of all, but the thing that caught me the most was the sound. Like, K-pop is known for, like, having such crisp music production, and before that, I was actually trying to write, like, rock music. I was trying to be, like, the girl version of Great Event Fleet, um, Boston Journey. I wanted to bring that sound back, but it was kind of hard for me to get other band members on board. But when I watched this video, when I listened to that song, which is like an earworm, I was like, the music is like this is pop music, but the level is like at such a crispness and such precision that I was like, I want to make something like that. It is like everything fell into place. Like the the instrumentals were perfect, the vocals were so good. I was like, how did they do that? Like I got my thinking cap on. I'm like, I want to learn how to produce like that. So shout out to like the music producers behind KDA and behind like all of like the League of Legends music in general, because that was that was I'm trying to find the right word to say, but like that was kind of like okay, it was my canon event. Like that was
No, I
that
love
was
it.
that really inspired me to be the artist I am today is like the KDA pop star music video.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna be honest here on the
Yeah.
podcast. I'm very bad with names. And so in the moment, like I have seen your music video. I'm a little spacing on the title. Can I get the title from you, please?
Was it
Um,
Dululu or Blue Angel? Because those are my 2.
it was you said Dululu or Dulu?
Dululu?
Dululu, yes.
Yes.
Okay, I saw Dululu,
Yeah.
and you mentioned it with um, what? How did you come up with the story for Dululu?
Okay,
Oh,
uh,
I'm sorry. Is that a personal one? Never mind.
it is, but I don't mind, I'm an open book. Alright,
Okay.
so a few years back, I had just broken up with my last relationship, and I was like, that was fun, and, like, we're still on good terms and everything. There's not really much heartbreak. I'm done with relationships. I'm, like, done. That summer, um, that summer, I, like, tagged someone in something, it's like, okay, there's like a part of the story where like I don't want to, I don't want to like cross a boundary or anything. So like, yeah, I I tag someone in something because I like their work and I wanted to show appreciation for their work. And then this person got back to me. He and then we would text and he's like, this person has a platform. They're I wouldn't say they're a celebrity, but they have they have a following. Um and we would start talking and I was like, what's going on? You're busy. I'm sort of busy. You should be focusing on what you're doing. What is going on? Why are you paying attention to me? And I would tell my friends and they were like, "Oh my god, he likes you. He's a guy and he would not be giving you that much like attention." But then I'm like, I don't want to assume stuff." But then I started thinking in my head like, what if? Because like one, he's like very nice. Two, he's cute. And then I'm like, what's happening to me? And like the moment I realized that I liked him, it was so weird. I was at this what do you call that? I was at the zip line park and then it was my turn to zip line and I go down the zip line and it's super fast and I get butterflies in my stomach and then I think, "Oh, that's kind of like how I feel when I talk to that guy." And I was like, "Oh no. No, I like that guy." And like the entire time I got off the zip line and was just trying to chill at that zip line park, I just kept thinking, "Oh my god. No, I did not want to have a crush on this person." And I kept thinking, "What if?" And at that point, I've had, like, the main hook to Dululu in my head, just the "Lulu," that one part, right? Um, but
I love that part. Yes.
I couldn't pair it with anything. I couldn't pair it with any lyrics, I just had that one part, and I'm like, "It's so catchy, but I don't know what that is," until that moment, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." I'm, like, thinking of, like, the best possible scenario, and I'm not usually like that. I do think of myself as an optimist, but I'm also, like, super realistic about stuff. I allowed myself in the creation of the song to think about, like, the best possible scenario, and mind you, this person is, like, 7,000 miles away, so I so it really is, like, a really big what if scenario, and we never yeah, we've only talked online, but that was
Wait.
that was
Okay.
that, so do you have questions?
I have. Okay. This is the big question here
Yeah,
because
sure.
I feel like it's a trope that comes up in dating all the time.
Okay.
Um, so 7,000 miles away. Does that mean you're okay with long distance?
I would be. I have moments in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Alright.
Only because that
Um,
came. I was like, I've I've had some friends bring that up as of late, and I'm like, oh, but we're in like a weird time where everyone can be connected no matter how far away they are. So
that is so true, and that's why I'm open to it, you know? Um, but yeah, there's, like so I did want Dululu to be it is, Dululu is the single of the EP, it's getting single treatment. Um, I think without that guy, I wouldn't have the EP for real, 'cause, I told you earlier, it's like, an instruction manual on how, how I wanna be loved and, you know, I hope, if he is interested if he's interested, I hope, like, he gets that boundary and,
yes.
yeah, it's just I was just pouring my heart out like that on the album, and, like, when I, came up with the concept of the video, we share a lot of things in common, and I decided, "Oh, let's have me meet my crush, the guy who plays my crush, at, at a dance studio." That's something we have in common, and, it's like switching between, like, a more realistic part of it and, like, more of a daydream. I also, like, went for, like, the Y2K vibe because, like, when I was writing and I was like, "This kinda sounds like a Disney Channel original movie kinda opening kinda song."
Okay. The
So
video.
you got that? Yeah. So
I did.
I decided to be, like, a little more fun with it. Yeah, all the colors, I was like and, like, the Y2K vibe also because, when I think of my crush, I act like a teenage girl. Like when you see like when I saw One Direction for the first time, or like when I realized that like I liked, when I realized that you have a favorite member in like your favorite boy band. That's how I feel. And it was a very very innocent, very puppy love kind of situation that I wanted to infuse into like that music. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, I have to ask, who
Mhm.
was your favorite in One Direction?
It was Liam actually when I was young,
Oh,
and then
Liam. Okay,
yeah, and then, I would when they went solo, I would tune into more of Harry and Zayn stuff, but yeah, it was Liam at first for me. Rest in peace, man.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think for me, this was like I didn't really. I think I'm a couple of years ahead of you. Because I think Run Direction was a thing like right after I got out of high school.
Mm.
Um, so I don't think I was into One Direction until a little bit later once they had broken up, and then it was Zayn for me because just the vocals,
Yes.
some of the songs, it's Zayn and Harry. Like because career wise, just some of their songs I resonate a little bit more. Like the older I get, the more I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, man, they're hitting me different. Like these are some deep songs. So,
Right, yeah. I just like
but I want to ask,
yeah.
uh, um, you said you went for Y2K. The outfits, there you really nailed it with the outfits.
Thank
But everyone had their
you.
unique style. I How did you do that? It was so good.
The outfits?
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
outfits. So
'Cause it flowed so well.
okay, when I do come up with my own outfits. I love, putting together a little Pinterest board, um, and also most of them half of them are thrifted, Depop and stuff like that, like actual vintage
Okay.
items, and then half of them, like the other half, were small designers, um, that I find on Etsy. 'Cause I try to, like, highlight, like, small creators and small, like, designers. The fun fact, the in the basketball scene, that little top, the little graphic tee that I wear, when I first found it on Etsy, it was like I asked her about it and, like, she sold it out. Her name is Citrus Dollette, and she makes, like, kawaii style, like, Y2K style outfits. And, I asked her about it, she's like, "Oh, this one's sold
Love
out.
it.
Is it okay if I, like, make you a custom?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I love that." I love getting, like, custom clothes. And yeah, I think, like, the outfits in Dululu, like, they really extend to, like, when I had live performances of the song, I would still stick to that color palette of, like, mostly pink or, like, mostly, like, vibrant colors, and, like, I've been I've been doing more of, like, the leopard print thing, the pink leopard print, um, so, yeah, I
Nice.
love being stylistically consistent with my outfits. I think it's one of, like, the best, like not one of the best, but, like, one of my favorite, parts of, like, performing and, being an artist.
Yeah. Well, okay. You, because I feel like we've only hit like part of your story, but what was it like to perform your music live? Because I've met a lot of musicians who they've created songs, they've performed it a little bit, but they
Mhm.
haven't had a chance to do like a full production or even perform it live. So
Mm.
that's rare. What was that like?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to when I first performed my, like, first single ever, Blue Angel, and it was at, like, a K-pop event that I was asked to go to 'cause, I used to be the captain of the K-pop dance team there, and they invited me back for a performance. Um, I mean, it's like it was kinda scary. It's always kinda scary, playing your music, not just for, like, a group, but, like, even for, like, one person for the first time, because it might sound great to you, but then, like, to someone else, it's like, a mixed bag. Um, but yeah, and also, like, they don't know, I'm not, like, super famous, right? They're not gonna know the lyrics, like, right when it, like, comes out or anything, but, you know when you see some people just nodding their heads to the music or like giving a little shout or like giving like getting me a little hype for that, it like means so much. Um and then when I played Dululu for the first time, and that song is also both in English and Tagalog. Um uh it was at a Filipino-American block party in Soma that they hold every
Okay.
year, and I was also reached out to by another group of people performing there for a slot, and I did rush the release of Delulu so that I can perform it and then be like, "Oh, by the way, this is out today." So, I
I
did
love it.
that. I did that, and then, like, I played with the crowd a little bit, and then I got people coming up to me and being like, "Dude, like, when you started doing your stuff, like, more people started to crowd around because it was the morning and, like, the party didn't really start yet, so we had a morning slot, but then when I started doing my thing, they were like, like, the crowd got a little bit bigger when you were doing that, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's a good sign." But yeah, it's just been great hearing all the reactions, especially live to my music, and the performance too, because like obviously we can't leave out the choreography that's in there. Um, just people saying that
The
it's
choreography.
yeah, I think like the best compliment I've gotten was like, oh, it's like Delulu is so catchy, it's an earworm I can't get out of my head. Like that's great. That's kind of my intention. I mean, a crush is kinda like an earworm or a catchy song that you can't get out of your head anyway, so yeah.
I was listening to it as I was getting like as I was prepping, and then my fiance is right here, and he looks over and he sees me dancing to it. So it's yeah, it's definitely an earworm for me.
Thank you.
Um, but I did want to like highlight the choreography because even the choreography, I'm not going to replicate it. Dancing is not my gifting at all. But even there were moves that even the moves felt like that earworm. Like it's like, oh man, I really want to replicate this. I'm going to hurt myself. But
Yes, points,
even
yeah.
yes, yeah, the points. Um, it was so cute. It was so good. Um, yeah, if you're watching this, we'll be in the show notes. Please watch Delulu. Um,
Please.
but it was so good, and just the choreography, everything that you did, I could see the passion in it, and it was just so amazing. So yeah, I hope that you're proud of it. You just take some time to like think and just enjoy it because I understand why the party came to you. It's because you brought the party like that. That was a
Hey,
lot
there
of
we
fun just
go,
to watch
yes.
here. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I yeah, but I was gonna say
yeah.
the fact that the party came to you and kind of going back to you said that you felt like a late bloomer. It just shows that you're showing up in your truth and people are responding to that. And so I just want to ask, you say that you're a late bloomer. What was that process like to kind of come into your own and say, "Hey, I want to do this"?
Yeah. First of all, for the choreography, shout out to Mindy Pyle, she's the choreographer. Fantastic girl, always hits on the nail on the head with the choreography. Yeah. So I owe that to her for the catchy stuff. I didn't want like a thing that people would remember for Delulu for that little part. Yeah, shout out to her. For the late bloomer stuff, honestly, growing up, my parents loved to watch um videos or documentaries about child prodigies. Um and it's about little kids like getting into their niche or their talent like very early, and because they like I don't want to say capitalize, but because they have this portfolio already of like since they were like a toddler, they whether it's like music, acting, singing, like art, they have so much on their resume already that it's not as much of like a struggle to get your footing or career later in life because you have all that stuff compared to like someone who started um their thing late in life like me. And I wasn't really envious of like those child prodigies. I was kind of wondering like how come I haven't found my thing yet? And I was asking myself that when I was like 7 years old. um I was a very existential kid. Yeah, I started music when I was 18, and usually like other musicians have been doing music since before they were 18. Um and it's kind
Uh-huh.
of hard to like reteach yourself things um when you're older. I started producing at 18. I took a break from dancing and started dancing again when I was 20. I also started singing when I was 20. Um yeah, I mean, I
Yeah, and
feel
I'm
like
not. Oh,
yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure where you're at now, but how long has it been since you started singing and dancing again?
Yeah. So it's 2026, so like wow, I guess it's been 6 years since like the performing aspect and 8 years since the the producing music aspect. That's actually a crazy long time. I've
It is.
actually
Time flies.
right? Yeah. I actually think because I learned it that I'm older that there was like some sort of learning curve kinda. I have like more of an analytical brain as an adult, picking up new skills compared to like when I was a kid. Obviously, like you have to build up your skills as a kid, right? And you like repeatedly take that stuff. I can like be in the studio, like, well, in the studio as in like my digital audio workspace in my bedroom. I can be in the studio for like an hour, and like in that little hour I'll learn so much things. It's like so much of music production is experimenting and active listening, and like, I can like do a song one week and then I'll listen to it another week and catch something again, and it's just, every like little correction that I make, there's there's like always like a new skill learned. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I think like I do wish that I realized that music was my thing earlier because I loved listening to it growing up. Um I would like since I was a kid to this day, there would be I would just like have my headphones on for hours, doing literally anything. Um so I feel like it's always been there. I think the thing that held me back from it was I was like psyching myself out into thinking that I wasn't that good and that it was too late. But I found that, there is a supportive system around me, and there is an audience that's willing to kind of check out my stuff. And there's like people who want me to perform, and it's very cool. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
I think like slowly like the more people reached out and like supported me or like helped me, the more I like really wanted this and the more I was like, okay, maybe, this is possible, even like with like the trajectory that I have. So I'm very grateful.
nice. Absolutely. That's great to hear. I wanted to know, so do you still feel like, okay, how am I gonna phrase this? Like, how do you navigate the pressure to have it all figured out? Like, is that something that you still feel pressure to have, or is that something that you've kind of feel liberated from?
Yeah, I I still feel pressure. I think it's motivating,
Okay.
but yeah, I wish that I knew everything about music. I wish I was like at the skill level I want to be at, like producing, singing, dancing, all of that. But at the moment, I just focus on meeting a standard, whether it comes to music, whether it comes to like music, like um I know that like I can perform well to an extent or like that's acceptable. I just focus on what I can do in the moment. There's always room to improve obviously, but I I'm like, okay, what is a possible benchmark to reach right now with the skills that I have right now? Um yeah,
Well, and I kind of want to talk about being in the moment of things like performing and making music. Um, gosh, is there this moment like this lock in moment during a performance where it's just like you're kind of leaving all that behind and you just lock in on what's happening. You're just there in the moment. Does that happen? What does that feel like?
definitely. Yeah, I before I get on stage, like I still get nervous. I used to get like really, really nervous at the beginning of my like performing career, but like I've kind of like decided to tell myself like let's just get it over with and not in a bad way. Like, whatever happens on that stage happens. You just leave it out there and then you get off and you mingle with your friends and everything's fine. But when I'm on stage, I'm pretty much on autopilot. Like it's all muscle memory. Um yeah, I just get on there and I know that I'm gonna do the songs. I think the one thing that I do focus on is like crowd work, making eye contact with the people I can see, um, you know, making sure I project my movements. But like other than that, it's like I don't really black out, but it kind of feels like it. Like when you're driving on the road while listening to music and you're just like listening to the music and like you don't really it's not like you're driving, it's just like you're going somewhere. Like, you're not aware that you're driving, you just know you're going somewhere, and you're just listening to the music. That's kinda like what performing is to me, like, that's what the sensation is. It's like,
I get
you're
you.
performing, but then you don't know. It doesn't feel like it. It just feels like you're going through the motions in, like, a big way. I think that's just my adrenaline, like, drowning out the anxiety so that it just cancels out and I don't really feel anything, but there is, like that is a lock-in moment. I feel like most of the lock-in moments, though, they happen at rehearsal because it's like, "Okay, here's where we can fuck up," and am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Um,
actually something I haven't really considered. I think yeah, I've had people who swear on the podcast. Um, I do have one person who I have to bleep, but I think we're fine. We should be fine.
okay, okay, I should have asked that earlier.
Yeah,
Anyways, yeah, we can mess up at rehearsals, that's, like, the final thing before you, like, release your baby onto the world on the stage, yeah.
yeah, nice. Okay, so that is really exciting. It's a different type of creating than I do. I'm usually behind a canvas, and the most I do to perform is I'm in front of people teaching a class, and so I'm afraid of getting on stage and dancing. And I don't sing. Only person in my family who does not sing, by the way. So, um, so hearing you do all of this stuff is literally you're living what scares me the most in the world, and it's so exciting because it scares me the most in the world. Um, but I wanted to ask, like, there is this as an outsider looking in, someone who's usually behind a canvas when they perform versus being on stage, it feels like there's like this chaotic um, chemistry that's happening on stage where it feels almost improvised, but I know it's like rehearsed. What is it like? I guess let me rewind it. What is your advice to someone who is about to get on stage and perform to lock in, to kind of tame all of that feeling of chaos?
Okay, I think it would be what I mostly tell what? No, I love that question, I love that
All right,
question.
advice. Okay,
Um,
great.
yeah, I would tell them what I usually tell myself in my head, you've done the rehearsals, you've done the work, you've made the song, you've written it. Um, you know, that's use what you got, get out there and kill it. Um, and whatever happens, happens. But like, just know that you know what you're doing because you've done it like 100 times at that point, probably. And yeah, yeah, it's just kind of also I kind of also pretend that I've made it. I know I've like had my accomplishments in some parts, but obviously I like shooting for more. I always put on 200% every time I perform. I perform like every venue is Coachella, and I just like put it all out there, and you know, people are going to think you're doing the most, and that's good. Good. Show them your most. It's better to do like everything than like, "Go girl, give us nothing." So, yeah.
I love it. But I was going to ask, have you been to Coachella?
I have not.
Okay.
I would love
No worries.
to. The I don't know. The big crowds are kinda anxiety inducing, but, like, I feel like one day I'll go. Have you been?
I have.
Oh my gosh.
And well, yeah, we're from California, so it is Palm Springs,
Mm.
and it is hot and dusty. So I think if I were to do if I were to do Coachella again, I would have to pay like some VIP pass so I don't have to wait in all the lines, and I need a really nice hotel to stay in to kind of cool off. Um, yeah, it was fun though. Like it's something that like I you've got to do if you get a chance. Just the amount of performers. I got to see Megan the Stallion.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, love
yes,
her.
and Doja, uh, and Doja, Billie Eilish, Megan the Stallion. Oh my gosh. And sorry, I'm gonna tie this back in because I don't want to like I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
lock
yeah.
in.
Yeah.
The reason why I highlight all of them is because in between each of their performances, you're thinking, oh, there it's just like a super polished onto the next thing, onto the next thing. But in between the performances, you got to see their personality come out. And so, like Billie Eilish stubbed her toe, and then she like is swearing on stage. She's like, "I can't believe this," and then you see the interaction between her and her brother, and it's like little sister again. Like it's that family bond. And
Mm,
then Doja just being a goofball and getting people to sing along with her, and then midway through starts making random noises. Um, and even Megan the Stallion, like I think during one of her performances is like, "Oh, y'all might not be feeling that," or like kind of talking to the crowd, and it's really cool to see people step on stage. Kind of going back to what you said, doing that crowd work, being able to connect and see like the flow of the crowd. Because that's not me. So I say all that to say those are the things that stand in my mind when I hear someone like you from like your genre of performance. I'm like, oh my gosh, the level of I don't want to say the level of what you're able to tap in to what's happening is just insane, and so I'm always in awe. Um, and just to hear you talk about it and then to see it come through in your video, it's just yeah,
thanks.
yeah.
Yeah. That's like you bring up a point of like showing like that that personality on stage. Um all of my performances so far, I've just been like on to the next song, only because like of time constraints. But like I can be goofy when when you allow me to. Yeah, I just this next song's about my crush. Like yeah. I
But
would
no, I
definitely
mean like
put that in. Yeah.
I guess that's not what I should. I guess what I'm saying is that vulnerability. That's the word I should have used originally.
Vulnerability.
Yes, it's that vulnerability to like be who you are.
Mm.
That's what comes through. I'm so sorry. Words mean things, and if I had the right word,
No,
but
like, I love that. Being
no,
goofy is being vulnerable, right?
it is.
Like,
Yeah,
I used to be like, we kinda need to be like this serious, like, deep person all the time, but I've been embracing my goofy, it's relatable.
yeah. speaking of embracing things, and I kind of want to go back to. I have two questions I usually ask people to wrap up a podcast, but there's a special question I want to ask because you said it earlier. From age 7, you felt like you were kind of like behind things and had to catch up. What would you go back and tell your 7-year-old self about what you accomplish in the future?
You know
You
what?
can also say past.
I'm gonna divert and be like super honest. If I went back in time to talk to my 7-year-old self, and I like had to tell her anything, I'd be like, don't say no to ballet lessons. Don't say no to dance lessons. I'm sorry. Like I really, yeah, I know that's like totally the opposite of what I said, but even if you're like a late bloomer or not, just like learning stuff is very important.
Hmm.
I feel like right now we live in a world where like everything is like fed to us, and like there are a lot of like things that are like it's hard to like decide like whether or not it's true when people are like not really doing their own research anymore. So we have to like learn. We have to keep learning and learn so much and use our brains. And I feel like that's kind of the point. I would still tell my young self to like pick up a skill, or like not say no to things, or not be afraid of exploring something that you like. Um but like, also improve at it when you're young, when you have the passion to do it, but also just to learn and be open to learning. And yeah, and hopefully 7-year-old me will not be stubborn and actually listen to me.
Yes. Well, gosh, if only I could remember my 7-year-old self. I don't know if I would have
Oh my
listened to me.
gosh.
And then the question I asked to wrap up every interview is, what song represents your creative process right now?
What song? Gosh, I'm like picturing like my Spotify liked playlist in my head. What song? I think um ooh, I love the song The Ambition by Zara Larsson. It's yeah, it's like a B-side off her Midnight Sun album. Love Zara Larsson. Um that song is basically about her I guess like the struggles of how her career went, because she just exploded like recently in the States. She was like bigger in Europe, but like before all that, it wasn't like to the extent she is now. And she was literally performing everywhere. She was performing at schools, at malls. Um, it's more of like the journey and the drive as well as the process. Like it's a lot of rejection, and one of the lyrics is you know, everything's a competition. You're always like vying for an audience's love and competing for that love and attention. And but like in the middle of it, you're doing it for the fun of it. You're doing it for the passion, and like just having that ambition really means you care about it. I like when I listened to that song, I kind of had to like stop the entire album because I was playing the album the entire way, and then when that song ended, I paused the album. I was like, "Oh my god, okay, that like hit a little too close to home."
Yes.
Yeah, love that song. "The Ambition" by Zara Larsson.
Awesome. And that will also be in the show notes, along with Dululu. That will also be in the show notes as well, because we're going to make sure that we plug you. And then speaking of plugging things, you have an EP that's getting ready to come out or is out.
It is getting ready to come out. Still finishing out the final kinks. Terms and conditions out this summer. But you might get another single before then that's separate from there. Like I said, I'm very spontaneous right now, and I have another story that I want to birth into the world through this song first, so maybe that'll come out first. But yes, terms and conditions out this summer. something new next month probably.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest, I'm excited for you. Like, I want to check and see how this goes because there's a couple of characteristics that are giving me like Beyonce-esque. You're like,
Oh
I
my
have this album
gosh.
about to come out. Wait, no, I'm gonna switch it up because I have another story that I want to tell. So I'm gonna switch,
Okay, okay.
and I'm gonna give you Renaissance before I give you Requiem. I see this. I see this. That perfectionist. What? Sorry, I don't mean to ask. What is your sign,
I'm a
or do you do
SAG.
astrology?
Okay. My
Okay.
main one is a SAG. I think I'm Sagittarius, Cancer. Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. Nice. All right. I have a Sagittarius in my life, and she brings a lot of fun energy, a lot of spontaneity. So I'm getting that.
Mm.
Nice.
Okay, what are your
Very cool.
signs? What's your big 3?
Okay. I know there's like Libra in there somewhere. My big one, I'm a Taurus.
Oh,
Um, yes. I
I
think there
get
might be Libra
that.
in there. Yeah. So I don't know what the rest are, but I just know like the main one.
That calm,
But
intuitive
yeah,
energy from, like, the Libra into the Taurus, I get it.
yes, yes. But hey, Jay, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Thank you for letting us learn about you and just experience your creative side. Everyone who's listening, I will have the links below in the show notes. Please um, follow, like, and share Jayi's work. And I'll see you next time.